Welcome to my next Lost. Season 3 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important. If you are caught up to the point where I am rewatching or watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, if you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, I've already seen Lost 3 times. Want to rewatch it and let the show resonate? It's one of my top 5 favorite shows of all time. However, I'm not the only one that's watching Lost right now. The legendary Crazy Coffeeman, who you see in my comment section for Lucifer, Dexter, Dexter New Blood, Dexter Original Sin, Breaking Bad, and now Lost, is actually watching Lost for the first time. So join us on the journey and let's discuss this awesome and amazing show. No spoilers past this episode, though. So with all that said, this will be Lost, Season 3, Episode 14. The title of this episode is called Exposé, and this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. So we have Nikki running through the jungle and stops to bury something. Then we have a flashback, and MC announces the arrival of Corvette. The Pride of St. Paul, as Nikki takes off her coat to reveal a diamond bikini and dances around a pool on a club stage. She spots someone entering Mr. Lashad's office and follows him with her coat on, catching the man opening a suitcase of money on his desk. She confronts him and says that the money was meant for the orphanage, and Mr. Lashad must really be the Cobra. The other man aims a gun at her, but she shouts her catchphrase, "Razzle Dazzle," and kicks it to the floor and grabs it. She aims at Mr. Lashad, but he shoots her first. She falls to the floor, apparently dead. 2 dancers, Autumn and Crystal, burst in, and Lashad tells them that Corvette was working for the Cobra, and he will pay. And then a voice says, "And cut!" A television crewman closes a clapperboard labeled Exposé. Lashad revealed to actually be the actor Billy D. Williams, of course, Lando Calrissian in the Star Wars movies. It helps Nikki to her feet. Creator of the show, Howard Zuckerman, announces that it's a series wrap for Corvette as the crew applauds Nikki. He walks her outside where the Sydney Opera House can be seen in the background and offers to bring her character back. He asks if she's leaving Sydney to go back to Los Angeles, but she says she loves him and isn't leaving, and then the two kiss. And this director is much older than Nikki, probably double her age, I would say. On the beach, Sawyer and Hurley are playing ping pong when Nikki staggers toward them and collapses. Hurley asks her what happened, and she says something hard to understand, like perilous. Sawyer tells Hurley to get help and peers into the jungle for possible dangers, but Hurley tells him Nikki is dead. Sawyer asks him, "Who the hell is Nikki?" Back to our flashback, Howard and Nikki are eating at his house, and he introduces his chef, Paulo, to Nikki when she compliments the food. He says Paulo came to Sydney and came to Howard's office every day until he gave him the job. Howard offers her a bread roll, and she says that he has placed a diamond bracelet in there for her. He is about to explain why his wife is an obstacle to their getting married when he clutches his chest, and Apollo comes out and checks his pulse, announcing his death. Nikki grabs the necklace with a key off of Howard's neck as she complains about having to eat the same food as him. They enter Howard's closet and lock a secret safe Nikki claims no one else knows about. Paulo prepares to smoke, but Nikki stops him so they don't leave evidence. Inside the safe, they find a doll, and Nikki looks at the contents of the doll and exclaims, "Razzle freaking dazzle." Sawyer, Hurley, Jin, Sun, and Charlie examine the body but can't determine the cause of death. Sun suggests they might have been poisoned and they should check the food supply. Charlie discovers dirt underneath her fingernails. Sawyer says she thinks she said plywood, but Hurley suggests power lines and then exclaims, "Paulo lies," and then Sawyer proposes they investigate Paulo. Back to our flashback as they sit at the Sydney airport restaurant. Paulo reads a newspaper article to Nikki which reports Howard's death as heart failure. They laugh and kiss, and Nikki asks about Paulo's gum. He tells her it's nicotine gum and that he has quit smoking. They toast to each other with champagne as they are interrupted by Shannon, loudly complaining about a lack of seating in the waiting area and Boone being responsible for them not getting first-class tickets. Boone politely asks Paulo for their extra chair, but Shannon pulls Boone away, accusing him of flirting with random guys, which she blames for their delay. Nikki asks Paulo to promise her that they will never end up like Shannon and Boone. And just so you know, all these flashback sequences with Nikki and Paulo, they were not on the show in the earlier seasons. Those were all filmed this season, and some of them, these moments, they're sliced in with old footage of Lost, just so you know. The survivors of Flight 815 roam around the debris of the fuselage in shock. Nikki runs past Shannon, who is screaming for Boone, and searches for her bag as Gary gets sucked into the engine, which explodes. Nikki screams for Paulo, turning over a survivor, but it's Arzt, who asks, "Are we alive?" Arzt is back! Yay! "Did we survive? Look at me." Boone runs up to Nikki and asks if she has a pen. She spots Paulo staring in a shock at the ocean. She holds his face with concern and asks him where the bag is. Paulo was shocked that she was most concerned about the whereabouts of the diamonds rather than his well-being, his and everybody else's well-being. Nikki and Paulo search through the luggage at night while theorizing about the nature of the monster. Nikki tells Paulo to focus as they need to find the bag before they are rescued. Ethan offers them clothes if they need them and introduces himself. Nikki says they are looking for Paulo's nicotine gum. Ethan suggests looking inland. Arzt runs by, shouting that Boone is taking the water. Jack comes out, tells them as he has found water, and makes his live together, die alone speech. Sawyer, Jin, and Hurley find Paulo's body still lying on the jungle floor. His pants are undone, and his shoe is in a tree. Sawyer looks into the jungle, but claims not to see anything. Jin takes a water bottle out of Paulo's bag, but Sawyer takes it away and empties it in case it's poisoned. Hurley accuses Sawyer of contaminating the crime scene. Jin suggests it was the monster. Hurley, Jin, Sawyer bring Paulo's body to the graveyard. Hurley says the monster must be responsible because Paulo and Nikki were with Echo when he said, "You're next." Sawyer disputes this, saying that he thinks Echo meant "we're all next." Sawyer tells Hurley to show them respect as he referred to them as Nina and Pablo. So Sawyer, he is an equal opportunity discriminator when it comes to mispronouncing people's names or saying different things or giving somebody a nickname. Nikki finds Dr. Arzt, Leslie Arzt, examining his collection of 20 new species inside his shelter. One, the female Medusa spider, emits an extremely powerful pheromone. Nikki asks for his help in figuring out where her luggage might have landed. Arzt offers to draw a map showing the possible trajectory of the debris that fell from the plane as it crashed. Paulo acts jealous about Nikki asking Arzt for help and suggests Ethan would have been more help. They follow Artz's map and find the drug smuggler's plane, and Nikki asks Paulo to climb up there to look for a radio, but he is afraid it will fall, and then they discover the pearl hatch and open it. Paulo wants to investigate, but Nikki doesn't let him. Sawyer searches through Nikki and Paulo's tent while Hurley tells him to be careful. Charlie reports that Sun checked the food and no one else is sick. They see the bugs and Charlie remembers them as Arzt. They theorize that Nikki and Paulo were his friends. Charlie finds Nikki's Exposé script. Hurley professes being a big fan of the show and discovers Nikki's name on the cast listing, and he is shocked to discover that Mr. Lashad was the Cobra. Sawyer discovers a walkie and tells them it's exactly the same as the ones in the others that the others carry on their belts. He accuses Nikki and Paulo of working with the others. Back to our flashback, Shannon and Arzt are yelling at Kate for not telling the group about the guns from the Marshall's case. Shortly after that, Nikki and Paulo arrive and question what's going on. Shannon tells them that Kate, Jack, and Sawyer didn't tell the camp about the case of guns and leaves angrily. Nikki asks Kate where she found this case. Nikki and Paulo go to the waterfall, and Paulo asks Nikki if would be with him if she would be with him if not for the bag. Nikki only says it's worth $8 million and he should dive in since she had to seduce Howard. Paulo sees the bag but tells Nikki he only sees dead bodies, and she leaves and he dives under again. The group discusses the situation at the graveyard. Hurley asks Sawyer how Nikki and Paulo could have been working with the others. Sawyer reminds him of what Michael did. Hurley says they are too far away, but Sun counters that they grabbed her right in their camp. Sawyer offers to make a perimeter sweep, taking out a gun, which Hurley questions him about, and then Sun and Charlie cover the bodies. Back to our flashback, Paulo nervously takes the nicotine gum out of his luggage bag and starts to dig a hole at the beach when John Locke discovers him. Locke suggests he find a more secure place for whatever he's hiding, stating, "Things don't stay buried on the island." Locke clarifies his statement by saying that the beach will erode, and then Paulo enters the Pearl, where one monitor is on showing static. He hides the doll in the toilet reservoir, and then or the toilet tank, I guess, and then he hears a noise and peeks through the bathroom door. Ben and Juliet enter, thinking the door was left open by Tom. Ben tells Juliet to have Tom cover the hatch with the plane. They tune the monitor station to the Swan video feed, which displays Jack Shepherd. Upon seeing him, Juliet, she thinks he's cute, and she's like, "Is that him, Shepherd?" And Ben says he will recruit Jack by exploiting his emotional investments. Juliet asks if this means they'll grab Ford and Austin too, and Ben replies that they'll get Michael to bring them to the others. They leave, and Paulo finds their walkie because they left it behind by some dumb reason. Hurley finds Desmond and asks if he can use his psychic powers to find out what happened, but Desmond says he only sees flashes. Hurley says as far as superpowers go, his are kind of lame. He suggests that Sawyer, Desmond, who he saw Nikki arguing with earlier in the day, right before she died. Vincent uncovers the bodies. Hurley discusses his findings about Sawyer and with Charlie and Sun. Sun defends Sawyer and accuses the others. Hurley leaves to get Desmond. Charlie confesses to Sun that he was the one that bagged her head and dragged her into the jungle, and that it was Sawyer's idea. Back to our flashback, Locke investigates the survivors Locke invites the survivors to the Pearl Station, and Nikki and Paulo tag along. While the rest are investigating the video feeds, Paulo pretends to need to use the bathroom. He retrieves the doll, breaks it, revealing its contents, a small pouch, and hides it in his underwear area. Later, when they all rejoin the group at the grave, Hurley asks for Sawyer's gun and tells him he knows about his argument with Nikki. He asks if Sawyer killed her, but Sawyer insists he did not do it. He tells them he had kept it a secret because he deduced from the dirt under Nikki's nails that she must have been hiding something important. He shows them the pouch, then throws it to Sun. She opens to reveal many diamonds. Sawyer tells her to keep them, says that he had nothing to do with the deaths, and walks away. Back to our flashback, a lot of notes in this episode. Nikki tells Paulo that she is sad that Thanksgiving passed 2 weeks ago without them realizing it. She's worried that they will never be rescued, but Paulo comforts her. He tells her he is glad that they didn't find the bag because it might have torn them apart. He leaves to get them breakfast, and Nikki finds his nicotine gum in the sand. Nikki finds Sawyer and demands he give her a gun. He refuses, saying that she is so agitated that no good can come of it. She says that she doesn't have the guns he says he doesn't have the guns anymore, and that he wouldn't give her one anyway if he did. And as Desmond watches, he yells, "And who the hell are you?" as she leaves. Sun finds Sawyer and confronts him about what Charlie revealed. She returns the diamonds to him, pointing out that they have no value here, and slaps him. Everyone gathers for the funeral, and Hurley delivers a eulogy. He says although it appears they killed each other over diamonds. They were nice to him. He liked Exposé, and they were a part of the camp. Sawyer scatters the diamonds in their grave. Nikki brings Paulo into the jungle and confronts him about having the diamonds. She feigns ignorance, but she shows him the gum. She takes out one of Dr. Art's specimen jars, opens it, and flings a Medusa spider at Paulo. It lands on his neck and bites him. He kills it, and then it remains stuck to his hand. She tells him that it's called the Medusa spider because it paralyzes the victim for about 8 hours and slows down the heart. And it's hard for even a doctor to know if their person's dead or alive. Paulo collapses and can't move. Nikki begins to search him for the diamonds, at first guessing that they are hidden in his shoe. She takes off his shoe and throws it into a tree. She opens his pants and finds the pouch in his underwear. Paulo tells her to look at the diamonds because Paulo tells her he took the diamonds because he was afraid of losing her if she found the diamonds and didn't need him anymore. The clicking sound of the monster are heard in the distance, and Nikki is distracted by She's distracted by more Medusa spiders. Attracted to the scent of the smashed female spider, march toward the pair. Nikki is bitten by one, and she runs through the jungle. So at the start of the episode, the group starts to bury Nikki and Paulo. Just as the sand covers their faces, the poison starts to wear off, and Nikki's eyes open suddenly, but Sawyer and Hurley do not see. Nikki and Paulo are both buried alive. It is clear that Nikki actually said paralyzed before she collapsed on the beach. And that's what ends this episode of Lost. So these characters, I don't know why they really focused on them this season. I'll give the episode an 8.2 out of 10. It was entertaining. Nikki and Paulo, obviously, their characters of the episode. And then my secondary character, I mean, everybody kind of had the similar role. Hurley, Charlie, and Sawyer probably did a little bit more. So I'll give the secondary character of the episode to Hurley because of his love of the show Exposé. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Lost. What would you rate the episode? Who would you choose as a character of the episode? And anything else that you want to add? Remember, I'll be in the comment section as well as the legendary Crazy Coffee Man. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.